We start tonight in Kanawha County, where a murder trial has finally started 18 months after the death of a Charleston police officer. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Macko. We begin tonight with breaking news out of Nicholas County, where officials say a deputy and a shooting suspect are both dead. Now, this happened in the Birch River area just before 8 o'clock tonight. Well, Amanda and Marilee, I also got some more information from the NTSB after that news conference, that impromptu news conference was completed. They tell me that that helicopter took off at 4:48 from the Logan County Airport here yesterday afternoon and crashed at 4:57 about 4 miles northeast of here along Route 17. Parsons says he's glad he stepped in and says his mom is awfully proud of him. He's also now an honorary deputy sheriff for the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. We have all heard horror stories happening on flights across the country with unruly passengers and flight cancellation. And from the state capitol to the corners of southeast Ohio, Andy Bernhardt is live in Lawrence County, where voters considered a measure about public safety and personal finances. You definitely got to thank those first responders, too, for all that they've been doing today with the rescues and everything. Now, the rain does continue to fall, and for that, we're going to go to Chief Meteorologist Spencer Atkins. Spencer. When it comes to the piano, Thompson says you never stop learning. During the pandemic, he played a lot of music and wrote a lot of music. And he has this advice for young, up-and-coming musicians. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Macko, and we are at River Lick Avenue in Huntington. We are helping Habitat for Humanity build a house here. It's part of Nexstar's Founders Day of Caring. All the Nexstar stations across the country are volunteering their time to help community causes. It's such a great event. We're here inside the house. We had a little bit of rain, so we had to move things inside. We're all putting up drywall here. We've been screwing in drywall, and this is a house that's going to go to Gregory Cooper. He's a deserving veteran here in Huntington. This is going to be his house, and I know Gregory was here earlier today, so we've been here all day helping out. We were also over at the Restore in Huntington as well, but check this out. We've got a lot of people here working inside the home for Nexstar's Founders Day of Caring. We are having a great time here, and we'll have more reports coming to you throughout the afternoon and starting on 13 News at 5. We begin tonight with breaking news out of Nicholas County, where officials say a deputy and a shooting suspect are both dead. Now, this happened in the Birch River area just before 8 o'clock tonight. We have team coverage for you this evening. 13 News anchor Amanda Barron is joining us live from Nicholas County near the scene, and 13 News reporter Andy Bernhardt is at CAMC General Hospital in Charleston. We're going to start with Amanda Barron. Amanda, what can you tell us? Amanda, thanks a lot. Tough night in Nicholas County and throughout the region. Now, as we mentioned at the top of the show, officials do tell us that a deputy is dead. Also, one of the shooting suspects is dead as well. Now, there was an active police scene today in Charleston tonight over at CAMC General Hospital. That's the trauma center. That's where, if needed, helicopters would fly in to take care of anyone who was badly hurt. And that's where 13 News reporter Andy Bernhardt is right now. Andy, tell us what you see right now. Andy, thanks so much for that report. All right, West Virginia State Senator Stephen Baldwin, who serves several counties, represents several counties, including Nicholas County, released this statement about an hour ago, saying in part, please keep Nicholas County in your prayers tonight as a deadly active shooter incident unfolded. Details will be made available soon by local authorities. And of course, we're working to get more information for you. We will keep you updated both on air and online on our website, WOWKTV.com. Moving on to other news now. They have wrapped up a second day of jury selection in the case against Joshua Phillips. Now, he's the man accused of shooting and killing Charleston police officer Cassie Johnson in December of 2020. No jurors have been seated yet, but after 2 days of questioning, some of the potential jurors have been asked to come back on Monday. Investigators say Phillips shot Officer Johnson while she responded to a call about a parking complaint on Garrison Avenue. Right now, the trial is scheduled to start on June 13th. A man charged in the death of a former University of Charleston and Wahama football player, Kane Roush, was arraigned today in Meigs County, Ohio. Roush was shot and killed in Pomeroy. This happened early Easter Sunday of 2021. The judge entered a not guilty plea for Richard Walker since he doesn't have an attorney yet. Now, Walker's bond was set at $2 million. Walker, who you see here, and his co-defendant, Keontae Nelson, they've been indicted on 6 counts, including murder and conspiracy for Roush's death. Now, a third man, Jaquan Hall, was indicted for aggravated murder in this case last year. His trial is scheduled to start in September. All 3 men are from the Charleston area. In other local headlines, no one was injured after a gun was fired during a fight in a store parking lot. This was in Vinton County, Ohio, and it was all thanks to an innocent bystander. According to the Vinton County Sheriff's Office, deputies responded to the Family Dollar in Wilkesville yesterday. Deputies say the suspect and another individual had gotten into some kind of fight in the store's parking lot. The Sheriff's Office says during the fight, the suspect, identified by deputies as Shane Bryant, allegedly tried to draw a pistol. He is now behind bars at the Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail. A Fayette County mom charged with felony child neglect after deputies say they found her toddler wandering on a road alone. Now, deputies driving down Boomer Branch Road say last night they saw a toddler walking in the road with no shoes on and no adults anywhere in sight. And they say it took them 10 minutes to find the child's mother, 22-year-old Taylor Falbo. She told them she went into another room to change another child's diaper and returned to find that her toddler was gone. Falbo charged with gross child neglect, creating risk of serious injury or death. All right, we're learning new information on a story that we've been following for a few weeks now out of Boyd County. Tonight, a lease agreement for a county-owned property has been approved. And as 13 News reporter Lane Ball tells us, it's expected to house a new horse track and gaming center. Spencer, thanks. Well, June is Pride Month, and one city is receiving praise from the LGBTQ+ community for its efforts to make everyone feel welcome. For the first time in history, the city of Huntington is recognizing Pride Month by flying a rainbow flag outside City Hall. 300 business owners have taken the city's Open to All pledge, which started in 2018. Now, each business displays a sticker that says Open to All. Huntington Pride is hosting a variety of events all month long. Their first will be their Drag Me to Brunch at the Ritter Amphitheater this Sunday morning at 11. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Rob Macko.
And I'm Marilyn McAuliffe. A man is in critical condition after a shooting in St. Albans tonight.
An elementary school assistant principal is facing serious charges tonight dating back decades. The woman is accused of sex crimes involving minors. 13
News reporter Lane Ball joins us with reaction from community members in Floyd County.
A gunman was shot and killed on Interstate 79 near Weston this morning after shooting a sheriff's deputy. The interstate was shut down for several hours. State police say the man stopped his SUV around 10:30 in the northbound lanes and started shooting at drivers with a rifle. Upshur County Chief Deputy Sheriff Mike Kaufman was shot in the leg and is expected to make a full recovery. Officers shot and killed the suspect, whose name has not been released yet. A road is back open after 2 people were hurt after 3 cars were involved in a wreck. It happened earlier today in St. Albans along Coal River Road. First responders say the 2 people who were injured were taken to the hospital. It's unclear of the extent of their injuries at this time, but again, we do know that the road is back open. Well, a busy road is shut down still after a crash earlier today. Customers were without power once again, but not because of weather. Now, according to South Charleston police, a construction truck took out a guide wire for a power pole along Jefferson Road. The Connaught Turnpike has been shut down from Jefferson Road to the I-64 westbound ramp since about 4 p.m. and we have no word right now on when that road will reopen. Well, family, friends, and strangers attended a visitation service today for Zaylin Conley. The 4-year-old boy was sitting on his front porch in Portsmouth, Ohio, Sunday night when shots came from Mound Park across the street and killed him.
So Portsmouth police say there are no new updates, at least in the case, but
alumni from Charleston's all-black high school during segregation have purchased the building from the Connaught County Board of Education. Tonight, the school board approved selling the building on Dickinson Street to the Garnet High School Alumni Association for $10. The building went up in the late 1920s. It was Charleston's all-black high school until 1956 when the schools were integrated. The building recently housed the Garnet Career Center, which closed this year. Alumni want to put in a museum and lease the building out to small businesses, nonprofit groups, artists, and community groups. Dawn Epps graduated from the school in 1955 and says it's important to preserve the school's history. The building has a 400-seat auditorium that could be used for lectures and performances. Also a garage with all kinds of automotive equipment. Now, if the alumni can't keep up with expenses, the building would go back to the Board of Education. Coming up, day 3 of the House hearings investigating the Capitol riots. What was revealed during today's testimony? Rioters came within 40 feet of former Vice President Mike Pence when they stormed the Capitol on January 6th.
The House committee investigating that day
U.S. Senator Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia remains undecided tonight about a new bill that aims to reduce gun violence and mass shootings. But right now it looks like the measure could face a vote soon. The legislation comes after the Uvalde school shooting more than 2 weeks ago that killed 21 people. Now, this bill would provide millions of dollars to enhance school security and allow for deeper background checks on gun buyers between the ages of 18 and 21. It also makes way for red flag laws where courts could take guns from people with mental illness who could harm someone. Senator Capito says she's still evaluating this. Senator Capito says she will continue looking at the details of the bill before she decides. She says the fact that Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky has initially given his blessing to the legislation will not affect her decision. The committee chair hopes to hold the vote before July 4th. Well, the largest flatwater event in the country is happening this weekend. We're talking about the 19th annual Tour de Col. It's happening Saturday and consists of a 12-mile float beginning at Meadowood Park in Tornado and ending in St. Albans. Meadowood Park recently went through some updates to make sure that the event will be as safe as possible. And the purpose of the event, besides being a lot of fun, is to raise money for the Coal River Group's river restoration efforts. Registration is still open. It's $30 to sign up. It also comes with a t-shirt. All right, Spencer, well, 1,000 athletes are in Charleston for the AAU regional track meet over at Laidley Field. Organizers are taking precautions to make sure they're safe from all of this extreme heat. That includes having extra water on site. They've also got paramedics there, Marshall University athletic trainers at the track. Leaders say that taking these precautions is critical as the athletes are young and they're exerting a lot of energy. And the event is supposed to bring in more than 4,000 people, so it's a huge economic impact for the city as well.
I cannot believe these kids are running in the heat.
Oh, I know.
Oh
it was terrible. Zach was out there today, and it was so hot.
I know. Well, it looked like they did a great job, but everybody just stay hydrated. Cassie's here now, and we got some high school kids collecting honors today, right?
Yeah, that's right, guys. It's incredible.
Wow. All right.
And it's their 7th one. Yeah, and like, what is it, 4 in the past 5 years? I don't even know.
It's like they're up there like every year.
It's insane. Like, yeah. Dynasty. As Stephen A. calls it, iconic now.
There you go. There you go.
All right, Cassie, thanks so much. Spencer, another hot one.
Yeah, keep watering your plants.
And I sense a lot of people will be doing yard work this weekend because the temperatures will be cooler and it'll be nice.
Perfect weekend to do it. Although it's Father's Day, so kids, come on, help Dad out.
There you go. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining us for 13 News at 11.
Have a great night.
I wish it could be completely adjusted for the rate of inflation, but this is a check to pay you back what the union took from you.
A special ceremony honored 79-year-old bass player Johnny Smith Saturday at Levi First Missionary Baptist Church in Rand. American Federation of Musicians Local 136 President Mike Pushkin apologized to Smith, the only surviving member of the band The In Crowd, which was punished for taking a stand against racism in 1968.
I don't think that this necessarily makes things right. I think justice deferred is still justice denied. What this reaffirms is that Mr. Smith and his bandmates were right.
So what happened? First, a little history. Johnny Smith was a popular musician in the Charleston area. He bought his first bass guitar at 18 while stationed in Germany with the U.S. Army. When he returned home, he began playing in rock and jazz bands throughout the Charleston area. He once played with Otis Redding in Beckley and did several shows with John Lee Hooker in Charleston.
Talk that talk right now.
Yeah, I sat in with him. I played with him. I found him to be a good musician, a personable type of guy.
Smith worked as a lineman with the power company by day and played music on nights and weekends. And one night, the racism of the 60s was something he couldn't ignore. Johnny Smith says that in 1968, he and his band members were playing on the 3rd floor of the Charleston Athletic Club, which was on Kanawha Boulevard at the time. He says a black man and white woman sat down at one of the tables, but no one served them.
They just sat there and they sat there and they sat there. And I think they danced a couple times, and then when they sat back down, nobody had come. And this was an appreciable amount of time. It was over 15 minutes.
Smith says he and his bandmates talked about it and decided to tell the manager about the situation, but they were ignored.
Since he still didn't send anybody to wait on, just continued ignoring, we quit playing.
Smith says taking that stand led them to being kicked out of the club. Worse, the musicians union fined each member $150, which would be more than $1,100 today.
It actually enraged me to the point, like I said, I never joined the union again. I never went back.
Johnny's son Brian says gigs only paid about $30 back then, so the $150 fine was significant.
He was married. You know, it wasn't just him. So when they levied that fine on him, they knew full well what they were doing, and they were going to teach him a lesson.
Brian says hearing the story over the years angered him, but he hopes the union's actions on Saturday will give his parents some peace.
It says a lot about the evolution of the union and the mindset. It says a lot about the evolution of the area.
Brian's longtime friend Joe Slack got the ball rolling, telling Pushkin how the union treated Johnny Smith back then. To make amends, the union reinstated Johnny Smith and paid him back $250.
Seeing justice almost done is just as important as being strong enough to forgive. And so I'm thankful that I was able to see that. I really am.
In Rand, Rob Macko, 13 News, working for you. Bob Thompson is one of the most well-known musicians in West Virginia. He's respected by fans and musicians around the world. And we spoke with him about his lifelong love of music. Anyone familiar with West Virginia's music scene knows Charleston jazz pianist Bob Thompson. Originally from Jamaica in Queens, New York, he's been playing in West Virginia for more than 50 years.
I came to go to West Virginia State College, and then I kind of fell in love with this area and have been here off and on ever since.
Since 1991, he's been the pianist and featured artist for West Virginia Public Broadcasting's nationally syndicated show Mountain Stage. Thompson has played all genres, from jazz to country to rock to blues.
It's interesting. You never know till you show up what it's going to be, and that's what makes it fun.
Some of his favorite musicians to play with during his career include the late jazz guitarist Larry Coryell, the late violinist John Blake, former Tonight Show music director and guitarist Kevin Eubanks, and drummer Omar Hakim. Larry Gross, the artistic director and former host of Mountain Stage, inducted Thompson into the West Virginia Music Hall of Fame in 2015.
Anybody coming into the show immediately says, who's that guy? If they don't know him already. If they've been there, they go, hey, it's Bob, you know. But because he impresses them with his talent and especially his style.
Thompson started out in music as a teenager as the bass singer in a doo-wop band called the Chanters. He played trumpet when he came to West Virginia State, but a jazz band he wanted to join needed a piano player.
So I started fooling around with the piano, and then once I did that, then I found out the piano was my home. It was the instruments that felt most natural to me.
And the piano's been his instrument ever since. When it comes to the piano, Thompson says you never stop learning. During the pandemic, he played a lot of music and wrote a lot of music. And he has this advice for young, up-and-coming musicians. He says they should be prepared, learn about their instrument, and listen to music to hear what they like and what they don't like. Thompson says he learned this years ago when he took his music to the president of United Artists.
He told me, my door is always open to you, but when you come back, bring something that if I want to put this music out, I have to have you. So it's being yourself and getting your person into the music that's important.
Thompson got to be himself on the many albums he's released over the years.
Bob will never grow old because he is constantly learning and constantly listening. Now, if you want to learn, you can learn from him, but he's going to learn from everybody.
And he'll be the first to tell you that music is good for the soul.
Music does do that, you know, it's food for the soul, and and we need that. We need that everywhere in our lives, and, you know, I can't imagine life without music.
Well, I feel like I know him. Rod, that was a really nice piece. Thompson says he was able to create these opportunities to play music all across the state.
Yeah, in addition to his work with Mountain Stage, Thompson plays out with his jazz band called the Bob Thompson Unit. He's also written music for a new album, and he plans to record it soon. And, of course, loved talking to Bob, and we wish him the best.
Absolutely.